better put your heart. And no fight.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Mind of Mando. Let me turn that down a little bit. What you're hearing right now is the soundtrack for The Witcher Blood and Fire. Is it Blood and Wine expansion? It's this soundtrack. Really good, really great. Honestly, I've been harsh on the show in the past. I should honestly just really sit down and give it a try, because in the end of the day, Henry Cavill is in there. And this guy is as big as a nerd as all nerds. And what he makes, I know he gives it his all. So, should try it out. Well, anyways, how's everybody doing so far? Hope everybody's doing amazing today. I hope you guys are doing amazing all the time and everything. Again, it's been around 3 weeks since I last uploaded or something like that. Here's the thing. I was making this episode a few days ago. Actually, I was trying to be more consistent. The thing is, I was fubbing on my words. It wasn't coming out as smoothly as I thought it should have, and I lost some information that I was going to share with you guys, that I actually declared that this was not a good take. So I ended up deleting everything, and here I am starting over. But a couple of things happened these past few weeks and everything. There was like a week and a half, maybe two, where just a giant storm was hitting the West Coast, all over California and everything. It looked like a hurricane, and honestly, when I looked at satellite reports, it looked like a big hurricane. But they're like, nah, it's just a storm. That's all it is, and everything. Back home in the Bay, back in SF, my family kind of got lucky in two senses. One, they weren't really there when the storm was happening. They were in Hawaii. And two, since they live somewhere on the top of a hill, they can't get flooded, because all the water goes down. But unfortunately, that's what was happening to a lot of the old neighborhoods and everything like that. Sinkholes, floods, all this crap. I'm sure you guys can see it when you Google it and everything. But that's exactly what was happening. Thing is, down here in San Diego, we got the tail end of everything. It was raining a lot, don't get me wrong. It was raining really hard, to the point where it was just absolutely... Hear my cat. He's just meowing. He always does that. Why does he do that? He uses the bathroom and then starts meowing after he's done. It's just like, what is wrong with you? Well, anyways, there's how do you say it? Oh, there's my cats. So we got the tail end of it. There was a lot of rain. I wouldn't say there was floods. There was worse storms down here in the past. I know that for a fact, but not enough that warranted shut down of major transit systems or anything like that. But it was still very bad, and but it wasn't as bad as up there. And yeah, that was the whole thing and everything. But it's very, very much in contrast with what we faced about 3-4 months ago. Remember when I was talking about, I think, death noodles, and I was just saying how it was hot, insanely hot. When I would leave my house at 5 something in the morning, it'd be 91 degrees hot. It's that's insane. But it just became the exact opposite. 3-4 months ago, 5 something in the morning, it's already 91 degrees. Today I was walking to work, and at 5 something in the morning, and it was 43 degrees. So these cats, they just keep, every time I do this, they're like, oh, it's time to start making as much noise as possible. But yeah, well, I'm actually glad for the cold weather. It's so good. It's really good. And I just love how it was raining so much. But good news, the sunny weather has come in. Very sunny, very beautiful. It's not hot outside, but it's cool, it's breezy, but it's sunny and beautiful. And perfect weather for the fact that this past Saturday, my lady and I went to the zoo. And that was the first time I've ever been to the zoo ever since living down here. I remember I told myself, hey, within the first year, you're going to go to the zoo and everything. Well, 6.5 years later, I finally got to go for the first time. It was really fun. We walked 4 hours. We only saw half of the zoo. We got to go again, though. And we're going to. So that's really what's been happening. Last two major news. One, I think I found a new addiction, a new hobby, and that's collecting Funko Pops because, oh my God, I love them. And two, I dropped a good stack on a brand new gaming PC. So I'm gaming on PC again, and this time it's a beast of a machine. So I'm glad I have it. I tried Ready or Not. Ready or Not, it's such a great game. I love it, so I'm gonna keep playing it. Well, anyways, let's. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening this past month in December, also in January, and there's topics that I'm gonna talk about that are old because they've been talked about to death, you know. But you know, screw it. Here I am. What is this cat eating? Hold on. Hey, stop eating that plastic. She got scared. Well, anyways, all right, so let's get into it, shall we? All right, well, here's the insanely dumb things I've heard happen this past December. So December 21st, 2022, Richland, Mississippi. I think you all know where I'm going with this and everything. A woman comes into Walmart. From what witnesses say, and from what this one individual I'm about to speak about says, is that witnesses say that this woman had not pleasant exchange with one of the Walmart employees in customer service. What they were arguing about, I heard one person say that the argument was because the woman tried to return a TV and she didn't have everything she needed to have, and Walmart was like, no, we can't take the return. And that made her snap. Other things were saying that this woman just did it unprovoked. Who knows? We weren't there. We don't know. We just all we know is the information that is given to us and made public. Well, a woman comes into Walmart and she comes up to an employee and she gives her a hug, you know? No, not really. She doesn't give her a hug. What this woman does is proceeds to pull out a gun and take this Walmart employee hostage. So now this woman is holding another human being hostage with a gun at gunpoint. And no, just because this woman rarely or hardly even pointed the gun or kept pointing the gun at this poor Walmart employee, that does not mean that she wasn't held up at gunpoint. She was. There was a gun. It was pointed at her from time to time. It's gunpoint. So anyways, so this woman takes a Walmart employee hostage. So now the suspect orders people to get out and everything. There's a witness report stating that they were coming into Walmart for last minute Christmas shopping, and all of a sudden, as they were going to enter the Walmart, they heard gunshots.
We spoke to one witness describing that scary moment walking into Walmart for Christmas shopping just before being told to leave immediately.
Barely got in, people were running out and people were screaming, "Get out," to me and my cousin. So of course we ran out and it was just horrifying, and then we heard the gunshot.
We have camera footage of, although not entirely everything, of the woman having the employee hostage at gunpoint. So now we know this woman has a real gun. It's not a BB gun. It's not an airsoft gun. It's not a regular water gun that she painted black or anything. She has a legitimate gun with legit bullets that she already fired. So there you go. Why? So let me break this down. Why do people do this type of stuff with guns? For intimidation, for compliance, right? Why do people do anything for guns aside from hunting or target practice? But when you're doing something like this, it's for intimidation and compliance. Well, what's the intimidation? The intimidation is just in our mind. It's not really something that has any like backing to it. The intimidation is you're intimidating the person into believing that you are going to end their life either slowly or quickly. One of those two. Either way, the person who is being held hostage at that point fully believes that they are going to die. Although she did not say it, and although we are not there to confirm it, we can tell because in the video, you can see this employee's face very clear as day. And you can see that she is scared. She is scared. If she truly believed that this woman was not going to hurt her, she wouldn't be scared. But she was scared. You could see it. So she showed the woman with the gun shows that she means business. Shoots some rounds. People run out. And she starts demanding a news network, TV or camera crew and everything like that. People instead call the cops. So they call the cops. And, you know, it's a really weird time that we live in when calling the cops in order to save an innocent person's life. It's seen as, oh, well, here we go. You know, it's weird. You know, I don't know. I don't get that. Well, anyways, the police arrive on scene. Well, before the police arrive on scene, the footage that I'm gonna be putting up comes from the camera of a man who was shopping in Walmart. And at one point, the woman yells out that she's not gonna hurt the hostage. And he makes a good point. He asks a good question. Then why don't you just let her go then? It's the truth, right? What if you're not gonna hurt this hostage, why don't you let her go? Because you need leverage. That's why. You need leverage. And what kind of leverage do you have? The leverage of making other people believe that if they don't do what you say for them to do, what you tell them to do, that you are going to kill this person. That's your leverage, that you are going to kill an innocent person. That's why you're doing this. That's why anybody who holds anybody hostage at gunpoint does it, because they need leverage. They need leverage. Either to get whatever they want or to get away or whatever. The threat of ending another innocent human being is the leverage of people who take hostages. 1 second. Oh man, I love water. Well, police arrive soon after. 2 officers enter the Walmart. And I say 2 because in the video, it only shows 2. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it. But in the video, it only shows 2. So they go in there and you hear the cops telling her to put down the gun, to put her hands up in the air and everything like that. What do you call that? You call that lawful orders. They're ordering this woman, hey, put down the gun. Put your arms up. Why? Because they're trying to make her not kill this person. But she said she wasn't going to kill her. 1, the police weren't there to hear that. And 2, so you ever hear people break promises I'm pretty sure everybody's parents do that from once in a while. I know I did. And when I was a kid, I hated shopping Old Navy with my family because they took hours. And I remember one time my mom goes like, Armando, mira, if you come to Walmart with us, not Walmart, Old Navy, before we go home, te voy a llevar a McDonald's. I'm going to buy you McDonald's. And I was like, cool. And we went shopping in Old Navy for like 4 or 5 hours. And then we went home. I didn't get my McDonald's. I got mad. Broken promises right there from somebody I love. So why the hell am I going to trust the word of a woman who has a real gun and is threatening to kill an innocent person? Why am I going to take their word and trust their word? She said she wasn't going to hurt him. Okay. Well, anyways, here's the thing. So now the police come in, they give her commands, and she doesn't do them. Surprise, surprise, she doesn't do them. So what happens? In the end, the police fire on her. She dies on scene, and nobody else was hurt. The Walmart employee, physically, she's okay. Mentally and emotionally, I can't speak for that. But physically, she's fine. She didn't get hurt. So that's what happened in Richland, Mississippi. Why do people do stuff like that? Maybe they're brats. Maybe they didn't get their way, and this is how they feel like they're going to get their way. This happened in, like I said, this happened in 21st of December, just 4 days before Christmas. Maybe she was lonely. Maybe she felt like she was on edge. Maybe whatever reason, people do so and everything like that. People have done worse. People have clearly done worse. Well, anyways, so that was one story. Now let me take you to February 9th, 2022. Kern County, California. I'm sorry if I'm going to say Kern County, and I'm probably going to have to take my time because I can't say that. It's weird for me. Kern County, California. There we go. So one day, Kern County deputy sheriffs received a call about a man assaulting a family member. So deputies responded to the call, but the suspect, who was later identified as 25-year-old Devin Moore, was no longer at the location. So what did the deputies do? They began searching on him. They like, dude, he assaulted somebody. We need to find this guy. So CCTV in one area showed footage that was later released, showed that Moore was carrying a knife and a sledgehammer. At which point deputies found Moore and began giving him lawful orders to stop, drop the weapons, and put his hands up. Sound familiar?
Do you need medical aid, police or fire?
No, the guy's running around here with the sledgehammer trying to beat up everybody.
Is he white, black,
He's
or
knocking
Hispanic?
people's windows out and everything. His name's Devin.
Is he white, black, or Hispanic?
He's white. Yeah, he beat his brother up.
When,
He's
today?
trying to beat me. Yeah, just now.
Devin, stop! Don't get yourself in any more trouble, bro. Just stop and drop the knife and drop the fire extinguisher. Subject's igniting the fire extinguisher, starting to run.
The suspect ran into a business yard in the 5100 block of Pierce Road. The suspect entered a guard shack next to the entrance gate and took an employee hostage.
Hey, somebody in there?
Back away! Dude, you better put that down.
Back away!
We'll back up. Put it down.
Back off of me now! Go! Put your weapon away! You're fucking with me! I'll fucking stab you! Go! Go, go! Go!
Moore, of course, died at the scene. I mean, like, 2 bullets to the head is going to do that to you. believe it or not. And nobody else, not even the guard who was being the one that was in hostage in that guard shack, he was unhurt. Physically, he was okay. Again, mentally and emotionally, I can't speak on that, but physically he was fine. So 2 threats. 2 individuals, although different locations, 2 individuals, both had weapons, both took innocent people hostages, both refused to comply with law enforcement, and both paid the price. What if I told you only one of those was considered racist? What if I told you only one of those were racist? Which one? Money on the table. Who do you think, which case do you think was the one that people believe was wrong and fueled by racism and fueled by hatred and the desire to just kill minorities? Oh, I gave it away. Oh no, it's the first one. It's the one that happened in Richland, Mississippi, correction. That's the one that some people are saying, hey, that they could have done this, they could have done that, they could have done this, they could have done that. Okay. Okay. So, this is where we come to this one gentleman. I keep forgetting his name. I should get better at this. Let's see. What's his name? Okay, Willie D live. I'm gonna put some clips here and there about Willie's points. So let's just get into it.
What's up, family? Police in Richland, Mississippi shot and killed a woman who was holding another woman hostage at a Walmart store as she pleaded for help and demanded to see a news anchor. That other woman was an employee at Walmart. So what was this all about? Witnesses say that the woman got into an altercation with the employee who worked in customer service, and she pulled out a gun.
Okay, so Willie says that she got in an altercation, which is why I mentioned that in the beginning. I personally have not been able to find any articles stating that as a fact, but maybe there's articles that came out that I just haven't seen yet. You know, if there is any, I'll post it up. But yeah, I haven't seen anything personally, but who knows?
Police was called, and you know how they do. Come running their little dumb asses up in there. They said over 24 showed up.
Imagine being taken hostage at gunpoint by some random person. Your life is possibly going to end in any second. You may suffer, you may not. And somebody takes the liberty to call law enforcement in order for you to be saved. Somebody else you don't know. And then you find out that somebody else thinks that the police are dumbasses when they showed up to save you because they're dumbasses. That's insane to me. It's just imagine that. Imagine having such being in such like an echo chamber, because I'm assuming that's where people like this reside, in echo chambers. All police are dumbasses. Well, these dumbass police are here to save someone's life.
24 cops for one person with a gun. What does that tell you, fam? They ain't got nothing else to do.
Like I said in the video recording, there's only 2 cops that are in there making contact. So I don't know what happened, because 24 is 24, like either 24 cops or 24 squad cars, and each car can carry 2 cops, which means if 24 police cars were there and each car had 24 cops, well, correction, if 24 police cars were there and each police car had 2 cops, that means 48 police officers were at scene. But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's just say it's 1 officer per car. So 24 police officers. If they had nothing else to do, wouldn't you want to live in that area? I mean, that just means that, how do you say it? That place is so safe. If the police have nothing else to do in that area, in that city, that should be one of the safest, most thriving city you could live in. Imagine that, living in a place where police aren't really active anymore because there's nothing to do. No one's hurting anybody. No one's assaulting anybody. There's no threats. There's no fear. There's nothing. Wouldn't you want to live in a place like that? I would. I would love to live in a place where I know me, my family, my friends, everybody I care about, even the people I don't know, are never going to get hurt. So that way, when moments like this, when, you know, just a wee little moment that shouldn't warrant 24 police officers, like, you know, someone bringing in a gun, firing it, and taking a woman hostage and threatening to kill her, you know, when that happens, I hope that Walmart gets flooded with cops to take that person out. Come on, man.
That would have been the perfect time for somebody to go rob the bank. 24 cops. Anyway, fam, they didn't give her much time. They shot her dead.
I mean, good. Good. They didn't give her time to assess the situation. They didn't give her time to make up her mind that she wanted to kill this woman right then and there. Instead, what did the police do? They did what they were trained to do. Put a stop to the threat permanently in order to save an innocent life. And no, the woman holding an innocent woman at gunpoint, hostage, and making her believe that she's going to lose her life right then and there, she's not innocent. Don't even try and spin that. That's insane.
Now, you got to think, fam. The woman actually said, I don't want to hurt anyone.
Like I said before, that doesn't matter. I don't care if you say, I don't want to hurt anybody, while simultaneously making them stay where you're at and doing what you're telling them to do and moving them where you're telling them to move because you're threatening them at gunpoint.
She had the gun on her side. She had the gun in one hand and on her side, and the woman in the other hand.
Yeah, that's typically how hostage taking works. When you're the only one taking a hostage and you need to maneuver somebody who you haven't restrained yet. You need a weapon in one hand and you need to move and guide her hostage with the other. Sorry, I burped. But it doesn't even matter where you're holding your gun. You have a gun on this chick. She was just holding it to the side. Yes, you're right. She was holding it to the side because I forgot that in order to switch the direction of where you're pointing your gun, you have to fill out the correct forms with the city and wait about 3 to 4 months to receive a letter in the mail that approves you to move your gun slightly to the left. Ridiculous.
But that woman wasn't about to shoot that. Come on, fam.
How do you know that? How do you know that, Willie? You weren't even there. I wasn't even there. You and I can't be like, oh, she's gonna shoot her, or no, she was never gonna shoot her. Because we were not her. We were never her. But here's the thing. While you're saying, oh, she wasn't gonna shoot her, what I'm saying is she threatened. But she said she wasn't going to shoot her. Doesn't matter if she said she wasn't going to shoot her. The fact that she had a loaded, real firearm that she already shot and made people comply with the threat of hurting and killing them, she doesn't need to say it. Her actions just showed it. That's what I'm arguing. If she already shot the gun in order to gain compliance, then who knows what else she's willing to do. I'm not going to trust a random person taking someone hostage at gunpoint and be like, oh, they're telling the truth.
And they had all those guns trained on that woman.
Yes, that's in case she decides to point the gun at them and fire at them so they can protect themselves and fire back. It's like let's say you live that fucking sorry. Let's say you live that gangsta life, you know, grow up in the hood or whatever. Or let's say you were in the military. If someone fires at you, you're going to fire back. Doesn't matter if you're fighting for a country or you're fighting for the block or you're fighting for some colors or you're fighting law enforcement versus threats in the street. If someone fires you, you're going to fire back.
They could have easily used something more, less lethal. They could have used something less lethal.
When people say they could have done this, they could have done that, it's like 99% of the time, people have never been in that life. Like I said, whether in the streets, whether in combat for your country, or whether fighting for your county, your state, or your city, they have never been in that situation. Because let me tell you, if you do a little bit of research, you're going to learn that not all city, counties, and states have the same amount of funding. Hell, just look at 2020, the defund the police type of deal and everything like that. People are like, we need to defund the police. That way we can invest the money on other things and we'll see less killings. And then they did it, and then crime spiked. So aside from fundings, you're going to see, my whole point about this is people who say this stuff have never experienced anything remotely close to comes down to facing off against somebody who also has a firearm, and you have a firearm, and the threat of somebody losing their life who doesn't deserve to have their life lost is in the air. You have to control the situation. And if you decide to trust, let's say, a baton or OC spray or a taser or even beanbag rounds or rubber rounds or anything like that, you got to know that they're called less than lethal for a reason, because they're not, how do you say it? It's not foolproof that these things won't kill you. These things can also kill you. Although it may not be as high as a firearm, these things can still have the possibility of killing you. Yes, that is true. People have died by being beat with batons. People have died with tasers. That's why they're called less than lethal. And on top of that is this. I will tell you this for how I personally feel. If I was in that Walmart and that woman came in and held someone, random person, hostage, but that random person happened to be my own mother, I will 100% back the police up if they just rolled in and domed this chick, and that's it. Because I ain't playing games when it comes down to my family. Not at all. Because you know why? Tasers fail. OC fails. Baton fails. Look at it again if you're trying to be some dude that you're hella hard, no one should mess with you or nothing like that and everything. What happens if someone pulls OC and you're like, man, I eat that stuff for breakfast. That ain't gonna do nothing to me. What if someone pulls out a taser? It's like, come on, tase me. I'm used to it. Tase me. I was arresting somebody over in Hemet, California, who said that exact stuff, and guy was strong. Well, anyways, and no, I'm not a cop, Willie. I'm a bounty hunter. Well, anyways, so there we go. And you threaten somebody with a baton, they don't care. There are a lot of people like, beat me, I could take it, beat me, and this and that, and they'll fight you back. So why am I going to risk losing? Why would anybody risk losing an innocent life just because you wanted to take care of the person threatening to take an innocent life? You know? Makes no sense, Willie.
But you know what I suspect? I suspect that they considered it a free kill.
Yes. You hit the nail on the head, Willie. All these cops want to do is come to our Walmarts and kill the hostage takers because they want a free kill. It's hunting season, boys.
Yeah, that's right. I said it. They considered it a free kill. The woman has been identified as 21-year-old Carlunda McGinnister of West Helena, Arkansas. 21 years old.
Imagine being 21 and already throwing away your life. Like, you think repeating 21 years old is going to garner sympathy? No. Oh, she was so young. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just saying I mean, people with your mentality say that. She was only 21. She had so much to learn. Well, if she had so much to learn, obviously she already learned what guns are used for. Obviously, she already learned how to take a hostage. And she learned how to be taken seriously while taking a hostage. She learned a lot.
The woman was clearly having a mental breakdown.
Okay, so I'm going to touch upon a topic in a bit, but just remember this part. This woman was clearly having a mental breakdown. So just keep that in your mind, because this is one of the things that a lot of people nowadays try and use as an argument in order to excuse crimes such as taking a hostage at gunpoint. They were having a mental breakdown. You gotta understand. Anyways, remember that.
And I do believe that if the police wanted to spare her life and save the employee, both things could have happened.
It's fine if you believe that there could have been all alternate modes and alternate ways this could have ended. I mean, I've worked plenty of jobs where, even though I believe that was 100% justified, my superiors saw it differently, and we're all like, hey, what can we do different next time? You know? And no, it didn't involve having someone at gunpoint. All right. But there's believing things could have ended differently. Things could have been done differently to have different outcomes. And then there's just denying the facts of how things could have turned out if anything else was done differently. And this is one of those moments. Because when you have a mental breakdown, you're not stable. You're not mentally stable. That's why you're having a breakdown. Imagine a building starting to break and collapse. Are you going to say that building's stable? No, you're not. So, of course, mentally, you're not stable. So you can't really argue that this woman wasn't going to shoot her if you yourself admitted she was having a mental breakdown herself. Mental breakdowns contribute into you doing stuff that you normally otherwise wouldn't do.
But they like that blood, man. They like it. They love shooting U.S. citizens, especially black ones.
There we go, folks. There we go. You know, earlier it was like, oh, they just saw it as a free kill. They love shooting U.S. citizens. I would have been like, okay, well, he's putting a blanket over everybody who acts the way this woman did and everything. But he's like, especially black ones, which already tells you that this fool has a victim mentality. All right. When people love bringing up race, when it comes down to situations that are very, very, very obviously not about race, that if you just took race out of the factor, you would be able to see it like, oh yeah, no, this person screwed up big time. They deserve what they got. You already know you can't really argue with people like that.
They come on the force looking for a kill. That's cold-blooded, man.
People join for a multitude of reasons when it comes down to law enforcement. But saying that people join because they just want to kill, it's kind of messed up, you know? What about recreation cops? The cops that are hired to be in high schools that need help the most, you know? What about those officers? Do they go there wanting to kill? They want to kill a bunch of kids? There's multiple videos on YouTube that show cops that are retiring from the school that they've been protecting for years and everything. And the students are throwing away goodbye parties for them. Why? Because cops don't go in there looking for kills, to kill. They go in there to protect and serve. And just because you're mad that a woman who was holding an innocent woman at gunpoint, hostage inside of a Walmart, died in order to save that innocent woman's life, doesn't mean that cops all want to do is come into work and kill.
We all know, fam, they would have had more patience. had that woman not been black. Now, I know some of y'all sitting up there saying, well, you know, that's what happened, man. You pull a gun in the boat. She don't know. She don't understand.
That's what happens. You don't know. She had a gun. Yes. Imagine people freaking out because some random woman took someone hostage at gunpoint and fired off a few rounds in public, yelling people to get out. Imagine people freaking out of that, right? That's crazy. Why would you freak out because your life is in danger? Why would you freak out because innocent people's lives are in danger? That's crazy. You guys freak out too much. You're talking about this woman as if she was a 2-year-old. She was 21 years old when she decided to do this. Do you realize that you need to be 18 to have a long rifle or any long gun? Do you realize you need to be 21 in order to have a handgun? Like, I don't know the legitimacy of the firearm she had, but I'm telling you this right now. She was grown enough. She was grown. When you start excusing 21-year-olds who can own handguns and who can drink in bars and clubs, who can do anything really, when you start saying, "Oh, but she didn't know, she had a mental breakdown," that's why she brought a gun. Like, that's why she did what she did. She knew that this was wrong. She knew that she needed to gain compliance, so she took out a gun. And she knew she needed to clear people out, so she shot her gun. You're telling, oh, she didn't know. She didn't know. This is a 21-year-old woman. What were you doing at 21-year-old? Were you still crapping your diapers? Were you still breastfeeding off your mother? No, you were a grown-ass man doing grown-ass man actions, moves, making money, whatever you were doing at 21 years old. You're an adult. It's time to take adult responsibilities. And it's time to stop looking at people and looking at their race, looking at the melanin in their skin, and start thinking, maybe they're innocent? No, they're darker. So no, they're not guilty of any of this stuff. You guys just don't know. Dude, this is one of the dumbest videos I've ever seen.
She's having a mental breakdown. Do you understand how mental health works?
We all understand that. It makes you unstable. Mental breakdowns make you unstable, which means you're not stable enough to decide whether or not you're going to kill somebody. You already have them at gunpoint. You already fired the gun. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not one-sided, is what I'm saying. You can't be like, she's having a mental breakdown. She doesn't know what she's doing, but she promised that she wasn't going to hurt this woman. She's either unstable or she's not, and judging by your laying into the more mental breakdown type of aspect, I'm pretty sure you're agreeing that she's not stable.
And this could happen to any one of our loved ones. Okay, you got it. You got your head right. You good.
This is the part that I actually want to bring up a little bit. It's like, this could happen to any of your loved ones. When anybody ever tells me, oh, what if this was your mom? What if this was your sisters? I always say this. My mom and my sisters aren't dumb enough to do anything like this. I'm never going to see them on any news, on YouTube, on anywhere, being like, oh, Ortega's mother or Ortega's sister took someone hostage at gunpoint. Never going to see that in my life, because they would never do that. It's ridiculous that you even bring up that argument, But here's the thing. I say this, if at any point they decide to do that, I would say this. I'd be very sad. It would hurt me, especially knowing that they are no longer alive. But in the end of the day, I'm not going to be mad at the people who decided to save an innocent person's life because one of my loved ones decided to threaten her to take it away. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. But that's the truth. And that's the reality. And I have this mentality because my mother also, when she was raising me to make sure that I didn't fall into any gangs, into the wrong path, and I have responsibilities, sense of morals and everything like that. One of the things she told me, she's like, Armando, mira, I love you. You are my son. But I want you to do good choices. I do not want you to get in trouble. Because if one day the police tell me that they have you arrested and in jail, I will be very sad. My heart will hurt. But you need to take responsibility of what you did. And I will understand that. And I was like, boom. My mother who came in here in her late 20s or early 30s to this country, who didn't know a lick of English, has better sense than people who have been raised in this first world, very cozy country. You know, it's insane. I don't get people who talk like this.
You ain't gonna never go up in no store and pull out a gun because you got a problem with customer service and hold somebody hostage.
Why are you saying that like that's some bad thing? We should be applauding people like that. Yeah, no matter how life gets, you're never going to take a hostage at gunpoint. Oh my God. Okay, we get it. You're never going to break the law and threaten to kill somebody who's innocent. Bruh.
I get it. I don't see myself ever doing that either. Not with the mental capacity that I have today.
Good. I hope that happens. I hope you continue to not desire to do anything bad like that.
But who knows what the future holds?
Okay, you ruined it. Because we're talking about a woman who took an innocent person at gunpoint hostage and made her fear for her life. I don't know, man. Looks like you need to be put on a watch list.
We got a mental health crisis in this country. And guess what? A lot of people who are experiencing mental crises are on the police force. They're in law enforcement. They're working in law enforcement. They're working in the judicial system. Hell, they're working in Congress. They're working in the clergy. They're working in education. They are doctors and nurses. They work in all of these institutions that are considered pillars of society.
Couple of things. You kind of made your point about cops not making the right call in this situation kind of moot, because now you mentioned other forms of employment, other pillars of society, as you said, that face the same problems. Here's the thing. I don't know if you just discovered that people who work specific professions aren't perfect. You know, I don't know. It sounds like you just did. But yeah, no. It doesn't matter where you work or what position you hold or what's your status in life. Everybody has mental issues. Everybody, every single person has mental issues. And you're right. There are people who have mental issues in the force. There are people who have mental issues who work as nurses, who work as doctors, who work in the medical field. People who have mental issues, who work at the DMV or maybe your local Burger King or whatever. People who work for the government. You know, there are people who have mental issues who hold any profession. But out of the millions of people, maybe even billions of people, who hold some sort of profession or some sort of status in this entire planet, not even a fraction of those commit crimes such as taking somebody at gunpoint hostage at a Walmart.
We got a serious mental health crisis in this country, and they think, many people here think that the way to fix it is to just kill people and lock them up. That ain't how it's gonna get done, fam. That stuff don't work. It lets you know, man, none of it has worked. If it did, I would be like, I might be the first one to be like, you know what, man, that's what needs to happen. If we can curb this violence, If we can stop all of this outrage, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. But it ain't working.
No, nobody thinks the solution to fix mental health or mental crisis is to kill people and or lock them up. People want to take, especially mainly law enforcement, want to take people in alive and don't want to kill them, which is why, like these two officers in the video did, they commanded her to drop the gun and put her hands up. If somebody just dropped their gun and put their hands up, you would have gotten your wish and she would have still been alive. Yeah, she still would have needed to face consequences for her actions, but she still would have been alive. There are actually very many programs throughout the country that try and combat mental health issues, who try and seek people to give them help, mental places to stay, whatever. But here's the thing. You ever heard that term, two to tango and everything? It usually just means two people need to be involved for something to happen. It could be used in this way too. You have people and resources and programs who want to help people with mental health, but it's up to those people who are suffering with that mental health to want to be helped also. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be a walk through the park, but it needs two people to make it work. And unfortunately, have any experience in the real world, you would see that no matter how much you try and help somebody, no matter how much you try and give them what they need, a place to stay, resources, therapy, etc., you're going to have people who just don't want it, who just don't want help. And they will refuse help every step of the way. And the only way that they can get the help is if you force them to do it. And we can't do that. So there's always going to be mental problems. There's always going to be people lashing out because of their mental illness. And unfortunately, some of those people are going to do what this woman did and take someone at gunpoint hostage.
Come on, fam. What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's why I say I have a very low opinion about Americans collectively. Because societies are supposed to go forward, not backwards. And this one is going backwards in every way imaginable, except for perhaps technology.
It's not, though, because we're talking about the issues of mental health at this point for some reason from that woman who held someone at gunpoint hostage. But we're not moving backwards. In fact, I feel like, yeah, probably we could do more, but a lot of it has to do with funding and everything. Does your city or wherever you live in have funding for mental health? Because I know down here in San Diego, there's a county mental health for people who need it and everything. There's this thing called PERT, P-E-R-T, for people who feel suicidal and everything. There's all these programs here to help people with mental health. But despite having all these programs, despite having all these volunteers who want to help people get better, who try and help people get better, who actively go out there in the streets searching for people who need help so they can help them, we still have a problem with those who don't want the help. And here's the thing. Back in the day, anybody who faced any problems mentally, like the people who face them now, back in the day, guess what would have happened? They would have just been grabbed, put in the straitjacket, and thrown in the into a padded cell. And that was it. In an asylum for years, they might even die there. I don't do that anymore. Pretty sure that's a step up. But you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe that could prove to be our downfall.
I do believe it's more important to go forward socially. But hey, who am I? That woman should be alive.
And she would have if she decided to drop the gun and put her hands up. And actually, she would have actually not even been in trouble if she decided to not pull a gun out and take a woman hostage.
I've seen them take more precautions. I've seen them exhibit more patience for people who have actually had guns to people's heads.
She had a gun on somebody, Willie. She had a gun on somebody. I don't want to hear any of this, but she was pointing it to her right and the woman was on her left. Doesn't matter, Willie. She made that woman believe that she was going to die that day if she didn't do what this hostage taker told her to do. Your argument isn't good.
For people who have actually pointed guns at them. So they can preserve life if they want to. In most cases, they can preserve life. But they don't want to. Sometimes, they say, well, put your hands up. Well, she didn't comply. Well, a lot of times they just say that knowing they finna shoot you anyway.
Oh my God. Imagine making this a legitimate argument. Sometimes they tell you, put your hands up. Well, she didn't comply. Okay. Like, she had a gun, right? She already fired that thing, right? They gave her the chance. Hey, put your hands up. Put the gun down, put your hands up. But she didn't comply. Okay, what do you want them to do next? They're not going to send in a dog because she's going to kill the dog. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to be Superman? You want him to move faster than your mind can process anything? Take the gun out. Take the hostage away. And be like, citizens, the day is saved. Come on, bro.
Put your hands up before you can even pow, 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 pow. So let's say she had a little time. Okay, she had a little time. Why not give her a little bit more time? They could have used a less lethal resolve.
Look, I'm gonna put up a still on your video that you used. You can see that there's two officers. As you can see, they have police written on their back, which means they have auto carriers, very likely. Can you see the woman in that frame? Can you see the hostage taker along with her hostage? You can't, right? Which means they're out of frame, which means that it's very likely that they're a distance away. They're both facing down a hallway. They're both facing down, well, I guess it's more of an aisle. What do you suggest them to do? Again, they're tasers. Do you know how tasers work? Well, here, let me show you real quick how tasers work. Tasers work by having, of course, a taser and a cartridge on that taser. You have to shoot at that person with that taser, and once you pull that trigger, two prongs connected with wires into that cartridge shoot out. They don't shoot straight like a bullet. They don't shoot nearly as fast as a bullet. Both prongs stray away from each other, because the way it works is when one prong connects to, like, let's say your shoulder area, and the other one connects to like where your belly button is, the further away those prongs connect into your body, the higher the percentage is that you will get stunned and fall for 5 seconds, because that's how long those stuns usually go, for 5 seconds, unless you get the civilian model, which is usually 30. So 5 seconds. What happens if you're wearing baggy clothes? What happens if one of the prongs gets stuck on a shirt and doesn't actually pierce the skin, but the other one does? Nothing happens, and that's the problem. Nothing happens, which means this person has enough time to realize, oh crap, they just tried to tase me. Bah! Here we go. The hostage is dead now. What happens if one of the prongs catches on a shirt and the other one just doesn't hit the woman at all? Bah! Hostage is dead right there. What happens if both prongs just don't even contact the person or anybody at all? Person doesn't even get hurt. Bah! Hostage is dead. Do you see where I'm coming at? Do you see the point of view that I just placed in front of you? They could have used less than lethal limits or options, whatever. They could have, and there's still a high possibility that would have failed, which would have raised the possibility that this hostage would have died. So instead of being like, hey, let's do this and risk not, how do you call it? And risk not making a good connection and possibly the hostage dying. Or let's just take the threat out right now because we can. And they decided to take a threat out because they were able to.
That woman should be alive. This is why people scream, defund the police.
And those are the same people who later on make articles saying in how their place of living is now spiking in crime.
You send people in there that know what they're doing. That's who you give the money to.
So a lot of people do this, like, hey, let's start different programs or whatever in order to have like negotiators or people who are trained specifically in mental health. I understand that. I totally do. Again, here in San Diego, the PERT team, that's exactly what they do and everything. They have 2 police officers there and they have somebody specifically trained to help with mental issues. Guess what happened? Here's the thing. I have personally been involved in this. You will have people who, no matter what, will refuse help and actually attack. It happens a lot. So it's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. Here, let me play some bongos for you and make you a crown of flowers. You know, that's not how it's going to go. And here's the thing. The PERT team, because this is literally what you're asking for, they also carry guns because they know there's some situations where somebody has a weapon. Come on, man. It's I don't know. They wear bulletproof vests also. And it's like, bro, you got to know that, like I said, not everything is me hunky-dory because we have these programs. And given this situation, when you're coming into a situation where you know the facts, and the facts are this woman has a person at hostage at gunpoint who's already fired off a couple rounds, do you think mental health people are gonna want to be like, let me just speak to her? No, they're gonna be like, yo, I need cops with me. Or they might just downright refuse to walk in and be like, no, you need to stop her.
The people, the experts, the people who specialize in crisis intervention. That way you don't get the call. The police don't get the call. You don't have 24 police officers. Plus,
again, even if wherever you live or in Richland, Mississippi, where this has happened, if they had their own crisis intervention for mental health or anything like that, they would still bring police with them. Hell, the city might actually even start a new section in their department specifically for accompanying people who are there to help some people with mental instability. That's what you don't understand. That's what a lot of people don't understand. In the end of the day, police need to be there because people that are there who are trained for mental issues know the risk. You know that they are the ones who know this a lot more. I know that they're the ones who know mental issues a lot more. But what you're failing to realize is that these people know the risks of things not going the way they hope they're supposed to go. And those risks include violence and even the possibility of death. Because again, when you're dealing with mentally unstable people who are breaking down, they're not stable. They will snap. They will do things that even themselves will go, I would never dream of doing something like this. Because they're not stable. It's in the word, mental instability. They are not stable. So if you decide to be like, hey, take the money from here and put it over there for these type of people to do their work, those people are not going to want to do their work because they're going to be like, hey, you're going to go in there and probably risk dying, or you're going to have to carry a weapon to defend yourself if it comes down to that. So yeah.
I'm glad the employee is okay, but I can't help but wonder what she said to that woman to set her off like that.
It doesn't matter what you say to people. Like, you and I can have a spat right now. I'm like, oh, you're so dumb, you're so stupid, and then you could tell me, oh, you're some whack ass, stupid ass, ridiculous ass beaner or whatever. I don't know. But that doesn't give me the right to hold you at gunpoint. That doesn't give me the right. And the same thing for you. You and another person have a spat and it gets heated. You have zero right to pull out a gun, a knife, any weapon and threaten that person's life. Zero right. Oh, I'm glad that the hostage is okay. I don't think you are, bro. By the way you're making it sound, I don't think you're glad that the hostage is okay. It sounds like you're more distraught that the hostage taker had to die for the hostage to be alive. It's what you're saying. I'm not pulling this out of thin air out of my ass. This is literally what I'm grabbing just by listening to you. Well, anyways, that was the end of Willie's video and everything. All right. So it may sound weird, like a weird cut right there. But just letting you know that I had to stop recording because I ended up, how do you say it? My battery ended up like about to die because I spoke hella. But I put it to charge and it may just feel like a split second for you guys, but for me it was a while. I put it to charge and I went to the gym, lifted some weights, just had a good pump and everything. So I'm back now, and although my battery life isn't so much because this battery takes forever to charge, I got to get a new one that holds the charge better. But what do you call it? I'm back and everything, which is also why you might hear like the music is different in the background if you're still paying attention to that. So yeah, so oh snap, no, I got to get a new phone. Speaking of everything, so yeah, so there he goes with Willie and everything. If you're listening to this, which I doubt you are, I am telling you this right now. I don't know you. I don't know your background or your experiences or anything. But what I'm saying is this. There's a reason why everything is in place the way it is. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But is it as terrible and as incompetent as you might think you are trying to make people believe it is? It's not. By far, it's not. In fact, this is probably some of the best things in modern day has ever come up with. Because in the end of the day, if you take away the race, if you take away the gender, let me turn that down a little bit. What you get are two situations where two people had weapons and took two innocent people hostages, and those who took them hostage ended up paying the price, and an innocent life was spared and saved. Yeah, for some reason, in the end, it seems like you're upset that this woman, hey, maybe she shouldn't have done that. I wonder what she told her to make her warrant pulling out a gun and everything. Doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, I had people call me the worst slurs ever. Right to my face. You know how many times I decided to point out a gun at them? 0. Because I know that's what's going to get me. I know what's going to happen to me. So, yeah, it's not difficult. And all this talk about defunding police, it's not going to work the way you think it is. I mean, there's already evidence that it's not working the way people thought it was going to work. So there you go. Maybe look at that and, maybe hopefully you change your mentality. Well, anyways, here's the thing you said, Willie, that caught my attention. And it's this. So you said police, all they want to do is kill people. They wake up, they go to work just because they want to kill people. It's all they got in their mind is killing the innocent. And I said it's not. And you're like, had that hostage taker been white, oh, they would have had a lot more patience. That's a big statement right there. And it's like they just love killing black folks. Okay, sir. Let me tell you two more things to prove you wrong, and I have a lot more. So if you ever listen to this and want to respond, let me know. and I'll point out more for you. Well, anyways, these two stories hit home because it's from where I'm from the Bay. Up in the Bay, we have the BART. I'm sure you're familiar with it, especially you listen to Bay Area rap and everything. It's always on the BART's always in those songs up there. Well, anyways, in July 2018, in MacArthur BART station, a white man randomly attacked two girls. One was 18-year-old Nia Wilson along with her sister Latifah Wilson. Both Nia and Latifah were stabbed multiple times, both suffering stab wounds to the neck. Latifah survived. Unfortunately, her 18-year-old sister Nia did not. Nia passed away from her injuries, and as soon as this made national headlines, because this was a nationwide thing, once they revealed the suspect and that he was white, this was immediately related to white supremacy, according to the masses. White supremacy, white supremacy. A white guy stabbed two young black females in the name of white supremacy. What context brought that up? Because he was white and they were black. What evidence? None. It was just because he was white and they were black. That was it. So they said white supremacy. Here's the thing. 24 hours later, after the stabbing and killing of Nia Wilson along with her sister, this man, who was later identified as 29-year-old John Lee Cowell, returned to the scene 24 hours later, returned to use the BART system and everything like that. He snuck into BART. I don't know wherever you're from or wherever anybody else is from, but here in San Diego, there's the train system down here. It's very open. I mean, you can go to any of the train stops. You don't have to pay to get onto the station or onto the platform at all. That's what confused me when I first moved down here. Unlike BART, you have to go to machines outside of the station, pay for your ticket, scan your ticket in, then you get access to the inside of the station. Well, anyways, people were like, why didn't the police? Because here's the thing. Later on, it was revealed that some fare inspectors made contact with Cowell before the stabbings. And once that was made public, because that's what one of the things that was used to identify Cowell, the family and everybody was like, well, why didn't they restrict him from using services? Here's the thing. It's not that easy. Anywhere where there's a mass public transportation type of service, you're going to have people refusing to pay. You're going to have people that will find a way on to use services without paying. It didn't matter if they were going to ban him. He would have snuck on because the next day he snuck on anyways. So yeah. Well, anyways, he ended up getting caught because someone identified him at the Coliseum. Police came, arrested him, and took him into custody. Good, right? No, it's wrong, because here's this. They were mad that he was arrested and taken into custody. Why? Because they cried racism. They were all like, oh, the police were right. He's white. It's the only reason he was alive and why he gets to keep living despite killing two black females, because they don't care about our young black sisters or anything. They only care about each other. This and that. So now the police are racist. The BART police are racist. Because, of course, as you yourself, Mr. Willie, said, had they been black, it's immediately. It's all they want. All they want to do is kill, you know? So now this guy is white. He's free. Well, anyways, that happened July 2018. So in September 2020, now we're jumping. Hold on, my cat's kind of being weird. I know, boy. September 2020, a 69-year-old man was heading south on BART to San Jose. He ended up becoming a victim of somebody stabbing him. A lot of stabbings happening back in BART. There's more cases, trust me. The victim gets off at Warm Springs Station, and he runs up to the closest guy he could see and cries for help. He's bleeding. There's an interview about this. This guy is bleeding. He has stab wounds, this, and that. Police were called, medics were called, and they arrived on scene. Police identified the suspect, the one who stabbed this 69-year-old man, in the train. What did they do? Well, just like Cowell, they made contact. They gave him commands. The guy complied. And he was arrested and taken into custody. That man was identified as, where is he? As 42-year-old Cowell Coffer. Cowell Coffer is black. Yet here's the thing. He was arrested and taken into custody without incident. He didn't combat or anything like that. He didn't fight. He didn't try and suicide by cop. He complied. And he was arrested without incident. Cowell, the one who killed 18-year-old Nia, he in 2020 was convicted to life in prison for murder. Thankfully, his appeal was denied January of this year, at the very beginning. So he's still in prison to this day, and he's probably gonna rot there for the rest of his life. His whole thing reached national news. Cowell was confirmed to be a transient with a violent past and mental health issues. You hear that? Mental health issues. He was taken without incident because he put up no fights, no arguments, nothing when he was being arrested. He complied, and that's why he's still alive. Cowell Coffer, 42-year-old man, has a violent past, also has mental issues. Him and Cowell both stabbed a man, separate years, separate months. Well, Cowell stabbed a woman. And Coffer complied with police orders, and they arrested him and took him into custody. The only real big difference is that for some reason Cowell was denounced along with BART police for taking him into custody without incident, were stated to be racist and deemed to be racist, that they loved each other, that they would never pursue anything against Cowell because he's white, the police are white, they're in it together. They don't care about the blacks. They don't care about any minority. Well, here's the thing. Cowell reached nationwide news, and now he's serving a life sentence in prison, along with his appeal being denied earlier this year. Coffer, this is now the second year, actually over 2 years, of this incident happening. No updates. Absolutely zero. Nothing. You know what? There's barely any articles about Cowell Coffer. Why? Because it's not fitting the narrative. There's hardly any coverage. This didn't cause a nationwide outcry or anything like that because it doesn't fit the narrative. Yet here are two people who did two similar things at the same at BART also, and people were only outraged about one. It's insane. Like I said, thankfully Cowell is serving his life sentence, but I can't say the same with Coffer. And this is insane because in your mind, Willie, the cops should have already been defunded and somebody else should have been taking care of that situation. Who's to say that either one of those two, without seeing someone of authority there, wouldn't have taken their rage out on the person sent to help because they had mental issues? Because they both have mental issues and they both committed violent, heinous acts, but they both complied with law enforcement and now they're both arrested. I don't know, Willie. You kind of need to rethink some things, in my opinion. Well, anyways, that was it for right now. There's a lot more I would love to talk about, but like I said, I only had so much time to charge my battery. I don't want it to die on me again, and this video has been long enough already. I thank you all again for joining me for another episode of the Mind of Mando. Again, I am sorry that this is all being delayed a little bit longer and longer and everything like that. I'm trying my best. It's just, work. Well, anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful day, wonderful night wherever you are. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.